The more and more we hear from JD Vance, the clearer it is that he is tanking the Republican Party. Because JD Vance has just shocked reporters at a Back the Blue press conference today by making some incredibly racist comments. Now, we'll take a look at specifically what he said in a second, but first, I want to show you him trying to defend Trump at this same conference after Trump made comments last night talking about how the Presidential Medal of Freedom was better than the Congressional Medal of Honor. Take a look at that clip.
We'll do one more then.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Senator. I wanted to ask you, Trump has been getting attacked from his comments at the press conference yesterday about what he said about the top military honor. And veterans have pointed out that, he said that the civilian presidential honor is better than what wounded veterans have received. And I wondered, what do you say to veterans who think that's demeaning?
Well, look, I was with a group of veterans in Pennsylvania yesterday, and trust me, the veteran community is very, very much behind Donald Trump. So, look, what I would say to people is, look, what President Trump said during a ceremony, and I haven't seen the entire remarks, but my understanding is President Trump said during a ceremony that a person who received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, he was saying some nice things about her. He was saying some complimentary things about her. Donald Trump, I've seen give out a Congressional Medal of Honor. I've seen him give out a number of awards and commendations to military veterans, and of course, I myself am a Marine Corps veteran of the Iraq War. This is a guy who loves our veterans and who honors our veterans. I don't think him complimenting and saying a nice word about a person who received the Presidential Medal of Freedom is in any way denigrating those who received military honors. They're two different awards, and I think the president was saying some nice things about a person that he liked, and that's a totally reasonable thing to do. All right.
Now, JD Vance in this clip is really downplaying the significance of what Trump said, because of course he would. In actuality, Trump was pretty much saying that the Medal of Freedom was better because you don't have to go to war to get it. And the only people who would get the Medal of Honor are people who are either badly injured or are dead. Take a look at what Trump actually said, because it is quite outrageous.
I have to say, Miriam, I watched Sheldon sitting so proud in the White House when we gave Miriam the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That's the highest award you can get as a civilian. It's the equivalent of the Congressional Medal of Honor, but civilian version. It's actually much better because everyone gets the Congressional Medal of Honor. That's soldiers. They're either in very bad shape because they've been hit so many times by bullets, or they're dead. She gets it, and she's a healthy, beautiful woman. It's very... And they're rated equal.
Now let me just say, the main base that you're trying to appeal to is the Republican base who are pro-veteran, and disrespecting the very veterans who you're trying to appeal to is not a winning strategy. And JD Vance trying to downplay what Trump said is just going to dig that hole even further, because this is not the only time that they have disrespected veterans. Remember Trump's suckers and losers statement? Or how about JD Vance disrespecting all of the years of service that Tim Walz has done? It is clear that they are the very definition of anti-veteran. But that much has been clear for quite a long time now. The only people that they truly like are straight white Republican males, and this is further seen in JD Vance's racist comment that he made during this same press conference. In this statement, he says that ethnic enclaves in our country lead to higher crime rates. Take a look at this clip.
Okay. Sir.
Senator Vance, Chris Cameron at the New York Times, you were talking about the relationship between crime and immigration, and my question is on that issue.
Please.
In an interview when you were running for Senate in September 2021, you were speaking with Jack Murphy, and you were talking about previous waves of immigration to the United States. You said the following: you had this massive wave of primarily Italian, Irish, and German immigration, and that had its problems and that had its consequences. You pointed to these problems as being higher crime rates, ethnic enclaves, and inter-ethnic conflict. Should the United States have prescribed similar policies to what you're proposing now, including mass deportation, to deal with those issues?
Well, first of all, I also said there were a lot of benefits to that wave of immigration, but has anybody ever seen the movie Gangs of New York? That's what I'm talking about. We know that when you have these massive ethnic enclaves forming in our country, it can sometimes lead to higher crime rates.
So yeah, this is an incredibly racist statement that does not reflect well in this day and age. Because despite the movie that he's referencing being about white people, the ethnic groups that he's talking about now are not white. So I don't know if he intended or realized that he was making such a racist comment, but that's what it ended up being. Not to mention, as the Washington Post analyst Philip Bump pointed out, the irony here, of course referencing the movie that JD Vance was referencing, The irony here being that the most brutal, vicious killer in that movie is the nativist who loathes immigrants. So again, this was a pretty clear backfire on his part because he clearly has not seen the movie, or at least doesn't remember it enough to see that the most violent and dangerous person in that movie was the nativist. And I think that this is actually a really good connection to make here, because in reality, the majority of immigrants and ethnic groups are not violent. The most violent people in this country are white people with guns, which is why 8 out of the 10 most dangerous states are red states. So nice try, JD, but it's clear that your racist rhetoric is not working as intended.